We're through match day 2 of the newly revamped Champions League format. I think it's safe to say we've all been enjoying it so far. Lots of goals, 58 in just 18 games this week, and plenty of talking points as the table starts to take shape after a couple of games. We got to start with Villa beating Bayern. I mean, it was a cracking game, and an absolutely stunning performance, I thought, from Emi Martinez in goal. I mean, what a goalkeeper he is. And the winning goal from John Duran. Wow. And obviously it was kind of a repeat of the final of 1982, which you probably remember well, Micah. But it seemed a fabulous atmosphere. What a cracking game of football.
I wasn't actually at the game. We was doing it from the studio, but the sound was immense, even just coming through the studio. There's a couple of different things with that game. So you've got Company, who's a new coach, against a master tactician in Emre. It was sort of, I don't want to be disrespectful to Villa, but it's their first time back in the Champions League for so long. David versus Goliath. If you look at Bayern Munich's squad, it is ridiculous. And the array of talent they have going forward was ridiculous. Then you have the whole Kane versus Watkins. We was talking about Watkins in the summer for the Euros. He should be getting the nod. What was Kane going to do tactically? Was he going to drop deep and frustrate it? But obviously the big story in the end was Duran again. I don't know how he keeps doing it. And you two were never subs. You know, I wish I could have some banter, but you two were never subs. But to have that mindset to come on and have that impact, what is that, 5 goals he scored from the bench this season. And we asked him after, because he did a little interview with CBS, he said he didn't even look to see where the goalkeeper was. He sort of just maybe knew in his like peripheral vision, would you say? That's
the way to say it, Mikey, yes.
When I say these big words, I always look at Gaz for Gaz's approval. The grammar police over there. I was like, oh, that's the way to say it, yes.
It's okay, Micah. I'm keeping an eye on you with my peripheral vision.
And then the finish. Man. And I mean, you guys could talk about the finish from a striker's point of view, but all in all, from getting relegated in 2016 to see the club where they are now, it's a joy to see, and I do mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, it was a brilliant effort. I mean, the save in the death from Harry Kane, the header from. Yeah. I mean, I know Martinez made other saves in the game, but the one on the end. I mean, he has become one of the great goalkeepers in world football. I mean, we know we talk about the shithouser even, and he's the master at that. And I kind of find it fun, but his actual goalkeeping. He's very, very rare that he makes a mistake. He's a hell of a presence one-on-one, as he's shown on lots of occasions, and he's just an all-round brilliant goalkeeper, I think. World Cup winner as well, of course.
Fantastic. He's got such a presence, hasn't he? And then you talk about the housery afterwards. Did you see him go down with a hamstring injury 2 minutes ago?
He's the best. He's the best at that sort of stuff.
Like everyone does it, don't they? But great goalkeeper. The finish, man, was like wow. Yeah. It was fantastic. It was great. If I didn't see your interview with him afterwards, Micah, but if you're right when he told you that he didn't even have to look up, he knew where he was. Brilliant. It's amazing. It was a great finish.
Yeah, obviously we don't see your output, Micah, because it's from America. Well, we see a lot. We see a lot of it in socials, don't we? But the clips, obviously. But did I presume someone asked him at what stage are you going to be like fed up with being sub?
You know what? I think Thierry was going to ask him that. I had that on his questions to ask him from striker to striker, but it wasn't the right timing because the interview was in Spanish. So Thierry did the interview in Spanish with Kate Abdo, and he had a little bit of trouble sort of hearing us. So it was more just about his moment on the night. But yeah, I mean, that's the question.
So no one had the courage to ask him. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, no one had the courage. just tactically in this game, though, because we was speaking about it before, and if you watch Bayern Munich or you just watch the highlights, you see the results, you think they're having an absolute amazing season, but teams who go in a low block against them at times are finding it difficult to break them down. And I was thinking, how is Kompany going to fare? You know, it's a big night for him. He's been questioned about having the Bayern job, and they didn't have the answers, which was very strange. We give up Villa credit for the way they defended. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. But that's going to be a question mark going forward. If you look at Tuchel last season and him basically saying he's going to leave before the end of the season, then the big question mark was Burnley. I did a clip on sort of what Vincent Kompany is trying to do in terms of the build-up and why I believe if he had more time at Burnley, he would have gotten back up to the Premier League and then done well in the Premier League. But he's got this massive opportunity. And now he's under this immense pressure because of the array of talent he has. And that is what he's got to grasp, that opportunity of working with some of the best forward players. If we just to name a few, you've got Coleman, you've got Gnabry, you've got Tell, you've got Musiala, you've got Kane, you've got the young boy Pavlovic, a midfielder who's coming through, you've got Kimmich. Then you got your fullbacks, wingers, Davis, and your Guerrero who comes on, who's left-footed right back. They've just got so much talent. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what they do this season.
Yeah, you say that applies pressure, but I think as a manager, you're much better having a great team and having a bit of pressure than having no players. I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
Just before we move on to someone else, did you watch the Arsenal game the other night against PSG?
Yes.
What about Havertz's performance? Because I thought he was fantastic. He put in a proper centre forwards performance. Even the goal when he was really, really brave. It was a great cross in, but he didn't shy away from getting it. But if you take the goal away, I just thought his hold up play when his team needed a foul, he won his team a foul. I thought he was clever, and I thought it was a brilliant centre forward performance from him.
No, I totally agree, Alan. I've liked a lot of his performances. Havertz. I think the only thing is he doesn't look to me like he'll score, kind of striker to score 25, 30 goals a season. But he's got a lot about him. He does hold the ball up really well. He's got a lovely touch and a deftness to his game. And he's probably learning the role a bit as well because he's obviously quite late to it. But I was really impressed with him. I thought he was... I've been in a lot of games. The only thing is, I think he does miss quite a lot of chances. He's probably not the best finisher, but that, even that, with the fact that he's in those positions more often, could improve. Definitely, I thought it was. I thought
it was a proper centre forwards performance. I was really impressed.
Yeah, and Arsenal were very good as well, weren't they, beating PSG? Because that was, I suppose, a tough game for them early in the tournament. But I mean, PSG are probably not the PSG even of. Well, last year or a couple of years ago, they lost all their star players at the top.
I think it looked a more united team rather than broken team. I think they're maybe more united now rather than playing as individuals. But PSG looked a long way off winning that competition the other night. They were miles off at Arsenal. Arsenal battered them.
Have any of you had the chance to look at the league table yet? I've got it. I've got it printed out. It's so big. It's so big that it's 3 pages I've got here. 3 pages of league table. Never had that before. It's wow. Who's topped?
Dortmund.
Dortmund, I'd guess. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Because obviously they bagged 7 against Celtic the other night. And then you've got Brest, which is quite a good story. You're just giggling at the word Brest, aren't you, Micah? I know why.
That must have been planned. How long were you planning that the other night, Micah?
I swear. You know what? Yes.
No. What happened?
No, so basically the social media clip going round, and Kay Abdu mentioned something about it's going to be an interesting tie next time round because Brest play Leverkusen. Is that right? I think that's right. Anyway, basically saying two teams who have started well, so Brest and Leverkusen. So Kay asked Thierry the question, and he said, it's a big one. It's a big one. He didn't say big game. He didn't. So no. Carragher's goes.
Did he do it on purpose?
No, he didn't. But Carragher did. Carragher started laughing. And then I just thought, this is my opportunity here. This is my opportunity. So I waited for the timing, and I just said, I'm not sure. I'm not sure for me. It's a bit lopsided. And then the the room went into a frenzy.
What a tit you are.
Thanks for keeping us abreast of the situation anyway.
How silly are we though? Will we ever grow up?
No, what? It's boring growing up though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's boring growing up. You've got to have a little bit of fun. Right, so here's the league table. I'm not going to read all the league table out. That'd be monstrously boring. But Liverpool, Villa, City, Arsenal are our lowest team on 13. So 4 of the top 13. Obviously unbeaten all the Premier League sides so far. Bayern Munich the 15th, Barcelona 16th, Real Madrid 17th. This won't last, of course, because they'll move up the table. But young boys of Bern and Slovan Bratislava are right at the bottom.
AC Milan right at the bottom as well, aren't they?
They're right down there, aren't they?
32.
They've not won a game.
Bottom, yeah.
They're 32nd.
Yeah.
30. Yeah. First time ever that AC Milan have been 32nd in a league table. I'll work that out. But it will be interesting to see how it pans out. I imagine all the big teams will gradually rise to the top because some teams have played tough games and they've got easier ones to come and vice versa. So can't read too much into it yet. But I think it's probably good to get off to a good start. The goal is to finish in the top 8 for automatic qualifying. Otherwise, you have extra games to play as well. So, in this ever-expanding football diary. Back to Arsenal briefly, Alan. What was the atmosphere like there?
Amazing, brilliant. It was a great night. It was absolutely lashing it down in London,
wasn't it? Yeah.
On Tuesday evening, and it was a great atmosphere. They got off to a decent start, and once Arsenal scored, really there was only ever going to be one team that win it. And yeah, I was impressed with everything. I was impressed with the atmosphere, with the performance, with the way they played, the confidence that they had. It was a really good night for Arsenal.
Yeah. Did you see Bukayo Saka's quote at the end of the game? He said, "This is the year Arsenal will end their 21-year wait for a Premier League title. I don't want to put too much pressure on us, but I do think this is the year." I like that.
I think he said that on CBS, to be honest. I think those
Were you there?
quotes, but it was sort of the way Thierry asked the question to him. He didn't come out and basically say, "We're going to win the league." He said, Thierry said something like, "Do you think it's now time to be able to win the league?" And he sort of said, "Yeah, why not?" He doesn't want to put too much pressure on himself and the team, but he couldn't say no. And Thierry asked him that. He spoke with great maturity, Saka, but I feel like it was a strong question. If he would have said no, he would have looked stupid. He sort of almost had to say yes at the time. But we talked about on the last pod, with Rodri being injured, now I said it's 50-50. They have a genuine chance of winning. And I say that because of the way they can adapt the game. And I mentioned Arteta before, but really away from home, how they set up and how organised they are, how everyone knows their jobs. I believe they have a real chance of winning. If they will, it's a different story, but they have a chance for sure.
Does that mean you're changing your mind and now you want to go for Arsenal?
No. I'm still going for City. I've still got City at 55% to win the league.
I thought you went for Arsenal.
No, you went for Arsenal. No, you was Arsenal.
It was only me. It was only me went for Arsenal.
You was Arsenal last year, weren't you, Gaz?
Yeah, I was Arsenal last year.
I said City but then the Rodri injury.
I thought I just went City because you didn't go Arsenal. But anyway, it'll be one of them, I suspect, or it could even be Liverpool. And they're going well as well. But Arsenal. I think Arsenal are becoming more and more established as a side under Arteta. I think you can see a gradual improvement. They're bringing in players occasionally in the right situations and the right positions, and I think their time will come. I mean, City can't just keep winning title after title after title, and that certainly will be the case when Pep leaves. It'll be an incredibly difficult act to follow.
You know who's been outstanding? Timber as well. Just Timber, the way, obviously he had his bad injury. He could play left back, he could play right back. He's sort of, when you have that long-term injury, I think it was a knee injury, it was a cruciate, I believe so. And Alan's talked about having cruciate, and it takes you a while to get back before you sort of get into peak fitness. But he's coming straight into the team and he looks fresh as anything. What a signing he has been. Yeah,
they were solid. Both him right side and Calafiori left side, and of course with those two centre halves, they're a really really tough, hard, well drilled back four, and that's even without Ben White. He can come in there as well, So they're solid, really really solid.
Let's talk about Liverpool. They've had a really good start, like most of the English sides. And Arne Slot's very kind of, I think, low-key the way he's come in. And I think he's changed things gradually at Liverpool, but it's still going in the right direction. And another comfortable victory for them. Although, the opposition did hit the crossbar a couple of times.
Yeah.
And Alisson made one or two saves, but 2-0, good win.
I was sort of flicking between the Villa and Liverpool games.
Yeah,
so I
same.
didn't see lots of it, but I saw the goals. I saw Salah's goal again. I mean, once he moves into that position, very much like Saka, isn't it? Once he moves into that position on the left and he just moves the defender, you know what he's trying to do, and inevitably, more often than not, the ball hits the back of the net. It was a great finish. But I listened to his interview afterwards when he said, we didn't play that well, but we got the right result. But he's had a fantastic start. I know they had the blip against Forest, wasn't it, at Anfield? But other than that, I think everything he's done and said has been really impressive.
I'm not sure Micah agrees with you, because I've seen him in the office when we were doing Match of the Day, and Salah had a game where he didn't score and he had him in his fantasy team.
Spoiled the whole day. Honestly, Mo, if you're listening, you are, is this right? 12.5 million on fantasy football. No disrespect. If you're that price, I need a goal or assist every single week. I'm not asking for a hat trick. I'm just asking for a little bit of a something. Just a little something.
I think he gives you more than a little bit of something generally when he plays.
That's his. He's got his proper motivation now, Mo Salah. Micah Richards has told him for his fantasy team he has to score or assist. I bet he's thinking, I've got to do it for my big meets. I've got to do it.
Yeah, Mo Salah became the highest scoring African player in Champions League history.
Wow.
So, what an effort. 49 goals. I mean, he's an absolutely wonderful player, isn't he? I mean, he makes... And I love it. He always plays with a smile on his face. It looks like he's actually enjoying it, which is, I think, an absolute delight to watch. He's a brilliant, brilliant player. And a cracking goal as well, wasn't it? What a goal, as Al said.
I was watching a little interview with Hazard the other day, and they asked him who's better Hazard or Salah, they asked him. And he said, Salah, I don't know if he was just being humble, Hazard, but he said Salah way better. I don't think that. I think Hazard's probably better all-round player, I would say.
Different players, aren't they?
But Salah's a bit more devastating, with his numbers. And he's a bit more prolific, I would say. And yeah, they are a little bit different. But when I was asked the question, and when Hazard said that, I was like, wow, the respect he has from his, former teammates. Wow.
I think he's being modest. I mean, Hazard's right up there as one of the great Premier League players as well. Both of them. They're very different, though. Mo Salah's more of a goal scorer, isn't he? I know he plays on the right and stuff, and he will create things as well, and he can beat people. But Hazard was kind of more of a 10, or even in midfield, the way he could take the ball and turn and beat people. I mean, I loved watching Hazard play. But it's like comparing chalk and cheese, really, because they are very different kinds of footballers, And it's quite... some people would say it's probably more difficult playing. You have to play a lot more with your back to goal with Hazard and then turn and stuff. But different roles, different players, but both absolute greats in terms of certainly the Premier League. Certainly in terms of the Premier League, no doubt.
Just a word before you move on, Gaz, on Bologna. Your man, Ndoye played, Alan. Do you remember the Swiss... winger forward
from the Euros that Alan did his
from the Euros you really liked, didn't you? With him and Mbolo.
How was he?
And he had some good chances, really lively. Bologna hit the post and they hit the bar. And Liverpool was sort of cruising at one stage, and then Bologna had a little bit, but in the end, I think Liverpool just had a little bit too much for him. And that McAllister goal was really good. You know what I like about Klopp? Obviously, we're used to Liverpool with, you know what I like with Slot? Different to Klopp in terms of sort of up, down and heavy metal. The passing and moving for the McAllister goal went in, it went out. Núñez held the ball up, it goes wide. You got a midfielder making runs. I like this Liverpool team. I don't think maybe they'll win the Premier League, but Champions League, because now they're a little bit more organised and cautious the way they set up. I think they're going to be a really good European team,
Yeah. What do we think of Ryan Gravenberch? Because I've really been impressed by him.
Very good.
He's really come on, hasn't he? I mean, obviously he didn't get that much action in his first season, but... he looks the part, doesn't he?
When I did the co-coms in San Siro when they played Milan, I thought he was fantastic that night as well. In the middle of midfield, I thought he was brilliant. Because they were looking to bring a player in that position, weren't they? But they weren't quite able to do it. But in terms of him stepping up, I think he's been absolutely magnificent. And that's a strong midfield. And you look at McAllister and Szoboszlai and Gravenberch. I think it's really, really strong.
Yeah, because there was a lot of discussions, wasn't there? And a little bit of unrest amongst the Liverpool fans because they didn't venture too much in the transfer window. But, if you look at their squad, though, they seem to be very blessed in most positions. Yeah,
I would agree with that. I think it was the fact that Gravenberch is normally a number 8, and to get the 3 of them in midfield, I know they've still got Endo, but I won't say he's not good enough because he is really good, and last season he had some really good games, but obviously he wasn't first choice, so it was sort of how do you balance that team with McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai when historically they all sort of want to do the same things and arrive in the box,
Manchester City, no surprise, winning in Bratislava, but very comfortably as well. Good to see Phil Foden get a goal. I mean, he had a tough summer in a way, even though England went all the way to the final. And you think, will it affect his confidence? But he's such a talent, and he's such a brilliant footballer that it was good to see him on the team sheet. But they do find it easy against a lot of teams, don't they? And also, Alan, for the strikers, did you see Haaland's goal?
I didn't see any of it because I was doing the Arsenal co-coms at the same time, wasn't it? So I haven't seen any of the City game or goals.
Well, he had another one-on-one with the keeper. And, we've seen him do the scoop. We've seen him put it low left. We've seen him put it high right. Went round the keeper this time. And do you know what? I thought that was almost going out of the game. And I was thinking, why players not doing that? Is it because perhaps the pitches are quicker now? Because obviously the surfaces are so good, so the ball might run out of play a little bit. But he restored my faith in my favourite finish because he went round and made it look really easy and just...
when you're the opposition as a goalkeeper, you look at who you're playing against and what they tend to like to do. It's like they haven't got a clue what he's going to do with 1v1 with a goalkeeper. He can do everything, as you've just said. He's bloody brilliant.
And that's the key, isn't it? So they and he's also worked out, and I'm so surprised that a lot of strikers clearly haven't, is that all the goalkeepers do the same on the one-on-one. They always give that kind of semi-splits position, which, so what they're going to do. Pretty much all of them do it all of the time. So you've got to work about that and work in your mind, how do I finish in those situations when I do that? And he's got it. He's smart,
Can I just ask you about the movement? Because the trademark run. So when the ball goes through, he sort of positions his body so he can get it on his left foot. But if you actually look at the movement and his body shape, it's almost like he couldn't get his body all the way around. So that's when he decided to go around the goalkeeper. And we talk about finishing. That is just, it's ridiculous for him to think that with that split second, that was the best option in that moment. That is the difference.
But that's what you do as a striker, because you repeat those things in training, you repeat those things in your mind, more importantly, all the time. And it's almost like, the brain acts as a computer that knows what to do in every kind of situation. And you think to yourself, it's a lot of thought process, it's a lot of repetition, but then it kind of happens naturally for someone like Erling Haaland. So he just makes the right decision because his brain works it out really quickly. It's a fabulous skill to have, and he's so good at it. I mean, one-on-ones in world football at the moment, you back him over anyone. I mean, Harry Kane would be another one, but Harry doesn't have that many of those kind of opportunities because he doesn't look to make those runs behind, obviously, like Haaland does, because they're different kinds of players. Harry can drop deep and play passing game and involve himself in midfield. But Haaland doesn't want to do any of that. You can see him all the time when people play a high line against him. He's just trying to make those bendy little runs, isn't he, on the half turn, and then they look to find him now. Brilliant pass as well. I think it was Rico Lewis, wasn't it?
What a player he's been this season.
Yeah, he's got a lot of ability. He really has got a lot of ability.
Can I just ask you about Foden? You guys have probably been in a situation where you feel as though you're the main man. So Foden last season, Player of the Year, absolutely outstanding. And all this talk about Cole Palmer now. Do you I don't know what to think about this sort of not rivalry, because I don't want to sort of bring up a rivalry, but obviously Foden a lot of the time plays out of position, doesn't he? Sometimes he's having to play on the left, sometimes he's coming a little bit deeper. He gets the odd chance when he plays in the 10 for Man City. It's game over. Goals, assists, everything.
Well, it's very early in the season, Micah. He's such a wonderfully gifted footballer that, I mean, he'll start performing brilliantly again this season. I've no doubt about that. But the fact you've got other players, that's always been the case, isn't it? There's never just one standout player that's every season. So, Cole Palmer will push him, and then lots of other players Saka will push him, and in terms of who is the best, but they all play in slightly different roles. I mean, you could say Cole Palmer has to play out of position on. Sometimes he's put out on the right. I know he can play there, so can Phil Foden, but also Palmer's best position is in that kind of free role as well, because that's the best position for the best players, isn't it? Or generally.
Yeah, it is. But I'm intrigued to see how Foden reacts, because everyone's saying Cole Palmer's the best player in the league now, and I think he's outstanding. We don't even need to talk about how good he is, but it's just that mindset of everyone's talking about somebody else now. What do you do to get back to, the level he was at last season?
That's always been the case, though, Micah. It's always been the case. You can't control what they say about other players.
He did win Player of the Season last season.
He did. I know. It's only a couple of months ago.
Exactly. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's obviously, it's worth pointing out, he was ill for a couple of weeks as well at the start of the season. So it's not like he's been left out or anything like that. He's just coming back. He's quality. He's a class footballer. Bit of a down to earth moment for Celtic. Having kind of had an incredible start to the season, but they completely got absolutely thrashed by Borussia Dortmund, didn't they?
I'm hearing it in my ears on Tuesday evening. When they telling us the scores on other games. Whilst I'm doing it.
No, sorry, I didn't quite catch that, Al.
Hey! Too fucking early to catch me out, man.
You can but try.
It kept on goal, another goal. I'm thinking, oh my God, when's this going to end? It was incredible. Tough night for them. You know
what was really tough, because obviously Peter Schmeichel works for us with CBS, and he went out to Dortmund, and he was all dreaming for that amazing interview at the end with father and son, with Peter and Kasper. Yeah. But imagine having to go report on a game where your son's just letting 7 goals. I mean, it was a tough night, and we sort of, I'd say, cross the line sometimes in some of the stuff we do in terms of our interviews going a little bit over the top. But I mean, that was not a time for laughing and joking.
No, not when you conceded 7. But he's had a few good games over the years.
Oh, yeah, he's been brilliant, yeah.
Wasn't a great night for the Spanish capital, or a great week for the Spanish capital, with Atletico getting bashed and Real Madrid losing to Lille.
Yeah, Lille actually a very good side, actually. They've got Jonathan David, the Canadian, and his goal-scoring record for Lille is very good. I think this is his 4th season there now, and he's really lively. I remember he was linked with a lot of the Premier League clubs after they won the league, and he had interest from absolutely everyone. So Lille are a tricky side. Mbappe didn't start, did he? They said he was going to be rested. Goulet, who we saw at the Euros, he didn't get on. Rodrigo, who's brilliant for them on the right as well. So it was a bit disappointing, to say the least. I still think they're trying to work out what system works the best for them.
Yeah, they've not had a great start to the season. I mean, I know they're right up there in the table, but they drew at the weekend, didn't they? They've lost in the league as well. I suppose players coming back to form. Kylian Mbappe's kind of got a little bit of an injury. I think you're right, Mike. It's also interesting how they're trying to fit the players in, because obviously both Vinicius Junior and Mbappe like to play on the left, but they've changed it around a little bit, and Mbappe's been playing down the middle, and it's not naturally his role, but then they've swapped quite a lot. There's a lot of interchanging going on, but I don't think it's really gelled yet for them. But I think great players tend to work things out, and I'm sure they'll come good, because they always bloody well do.
I can imagine the reaction in the Spanish press, can't you, about about those results. We go on about the press in our country, but you can imagine the backlash over there.
Yeah. It's another level over there. People think, we're a bit hard on our teams here. Believe you me, in Spain, if you're at Barcelona or Real Madrid, you've got to keep winning, because the expectancy levels there of those particular clubs are off the planet, really. Bruno Fernandes obviously was shown red at the weekend. I think most of us, well, nearly all of us, thought that a yellow would have sufficed. Kai went to VAR, decided not to intervene on the situation, and now obviously there was an appeal, and it's been held up by an independent FA commission, if I'm not mistaken. Where does this leave kind of VAR? I mean, I would imagine they'd be pretty upset by this.
I would imagine so. Well, they should be, because it was a diabolical decision. It was. I mean, seriously, I get it that the referee might have had a really poor view of it and couldn't seen it, but then for the linesman or the assistant referee to then tell him he's made an absolute howler and Bruno deserves a red card. And then for the two in the VAR room to look at it and then actually, what is going through their heads? I can't work it out, man. Honestly, it's like, how the hell can you get it that wrong?
I'll tell you why, Alan, because they've got the high bar, right? So we know with the bar's low and then it's high, right? This season they've come out and said it's high bar. We've got the referee's call. It's a pinch from cricket, which is, it's easier to define it in cricket. So they've got this, so it's got to be really high now. And all of us are going, yeah, we want it really high. And then with this, they've probably looked at it and they've gone, well, it's probably not a red, but is it enough for us to send him to the monitor to have a look at it? Well, we'll keep the high bar. We'll go with the referee's call. Now, therein lies the problem with the current application of VAR, because what happened? People now go, oh, it turned over by an independent. You see, they did that. So they'll start to think, maybe we should lower the bar a little bit now. And this has happened season in, season out. The bar goes down, then the bar goes up again, because everyone says, well, you should be given a penalty for that and you're not, or you didn't give a penalty for that and now you're not overturning it, or then you're overturning things that are too slight, like they did in the first two seasons. So they can't win. I feel they're in a really invidious position. I think it's incredibly difficult for VAR. But that is why I say, I know I'm going to harp on about this until we get it changed. It has to come down to an appeals system, and the sides on the pitch have to challenge and appeal a decision, whether it's 1.5, 2.5, 2 a game, 3 a game. You keep your lives if your decision is upheld, you lose it if you don't, like goes on in other sports, and it works.
Who are you appealing to, though, Gary? Who are you appealing to? Are you appealing to the same people that have made the decision anyway and then have looked at the camera angles 2 or 3 times, and it's the same guys that refused to send the referee to the screen because they thought it was an absolute howler he's made and it's red? Are you appealing to these same people?
Yes, but it's totally different.
There lies a problem.
No, you don't. Let me explain why it's not such a problem. There will still be mistakes. Of course there will, because they're human beings. We all make mistakes. But if it's an appeal system, if, say, for example, you're appealing for a penalty, you think your fella's been fouled. He goes down and the appeal is the captain or the mat coach or whoever it is goes, we appeal that decision. We think number 6 fouled number 5 for a penalty. So they look specifically at that. They don't just look to try and find something to disallow a goal like they do at the moment. So they go, or a penalty, or to give a penalty. So they go, right, they look at it, and there's no bar. There's no bar. There's not a high bar. There's not a low bar. What they look for is whether it is a foul or it is not. But because at the moment, even if it is a foul, they go, oh, is it enough of a foul? All you need to do in an appeal system is go, right, it's a foul or it's not a foul. We'll still disagree with them from time to time, but it takes away that side of things, the bar aspect. So yes, they're the same people, but the people at the moment in VAR are in an incredibly difficult position because they're looking at things, they're probably thinking, oh, well, actually it is a foul, but is it clear enough of a foul? And it's unworkable in its current state. But if you do an appeal thing, did he handball it, did he not? Or did he kick him or did he not? Is it a red card, is it not? It's nothing to do with referees call, high bars, low bars. It's just a straightforward decision. It still wouldn't be perfect because it's impossible to be perfect, but it would be significantly better than the nonsense it is today.
I just think the other night they should have just sent him to the screen. It would have been far easier. Send the referee to the screen. We're not 100%
You're
certain.
a person, Alan, that's been calling for a really high bar. So it's up to, how did you decide whether that's, on that? I agree with you. It absolutely shouldn't have been a red card. It shouldn't have been a red card. But I know why they've not overturned it and told him to go to the monitor, because they've looked at it and gone, well, he did kick him. So, I don't know. Do we want to turn this because this season it's referee's call and we've got a really high bar? And that's why they didn't do it.
Yeah, but that uncertainty could cost Ten Hag his job, though. Do you know what I mean? It's rather
not. They were 2-0 down at the top. I don't think they'd have won that game if they'd have had 12 men, to be perfectly honest. But yes, but you're absolutely right with your point.
I mean, I agree with both of you. I think it's a great idea, but I agree with Alan in the fact that if you've watched football, forget whatever bar. It could be fucking Milky Bar for all I care.
The Milky Bar kid is wrong.
Anyone who's got any sense about football, anyone, whether it's grassroots, whether it's the highest level of football, we all could see at the time, the first angle looked like a red card, because you're thinking, when you actually turn it round and they get, how many different camera angles, you can clearly see that is not a red card. They've made an absolute howler. I
agree.
And I don't want to put more pressure onto referees. I don't. Because sometimes when they do good jobs, they don't get no praise. So I'm not going to jump on it when they've made a mistake, because humans make mistakes.
But you just have.
But surely we can all agree, whether you're a referee or a normal punter, that is not a red card.
I agree, but I was just trying to explain the position, the predicament they're in, and trying to work out how high the bar is. And it will be absolutely the same when they lower the bar, which is now inevitable after this. We'll be going, how can they give a penalty for that? Why have they sent him
That's a great quote, by the way. I don't care about any bar. I just think it could be a fucking Milky Bar. Brilliant, Micah. I love it.
The Milky Bars are on you, Micah, next time. That's all for today's episode of The Rest is Football. We'll be back first thing on Monday morning discussing all the best action and stories from the weekend. But for now, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great weekend, everyone.